Hey, how's it going? How's it going, Barca friends? Today, welcome to a new video where we're going to bring you everything that's happening with Barca. All the latest, 100% about this great team that today has started training. At the end of the video, I have a bombshell that you might not know about. A new name has come up, a new name that's being talked about a lot to be, who knows? Barca's next signing in the next few hours, days, weeks, who knows? The market is volatile and more player transfers are expected. I'm also bringing you another bombshell about Barca players who did something today that people won't like very much. A first day that, honestly, we've been waiting for a very long time. Because it's been day one, you could say. Yesterday, first day of medical tests for the first team. Today, first training session. You're also going to see some footage from those moments when the team was called in. By the way, this training session started at 6 in the evening, but there are players, some of them arrived much earlier. Some players arrived earlier than others. Koundé arrived way ahead of time, as he loves to stay in great shape.
As expected, the first day was no different.
There are quite a few players we need to talk about today. Joan García, the Barca goalkeeper, will be under the orders of Hansi Flick and the staff for the first time. I don't know how his first training session went. I don't know how he feels after putting on that Football Club Barcelona shirt for the first time on a training field. I hope they're really good for us. It always has been since Barca first showed interest in him. The truth is, I think he's a goalkeeper who's going to be in the top 3 in the world very soon. He gives me an incredible feeling, and I think, well, the good Joan García has more than enough qualities to become, as I said, a very important goalkeeper for Hansi Flick's team. Watch out, because speaking of goalkeepers, we have to tell you something. Of course, Szczesny has also been there. Recent contract renewal suggests he will be Barca's second goalkeeper. But be careful, because speaking of goalkeepers, as I said, Ter Stegen has also been called up. Ter Stegen has, of course, also arrived at the training ground. But watch out, be careful. As we said a few days ago, Marc-Andre Ter Stegen also hasn't trained. He's been in the gym. There hasn't been any statement from Barca. There's no injury. There's no other setback. It's just that Marc-Andre Ter Stegen hasn't been at training. Something that at least suggests that the future of the German is going to be secure. Based on what you hear, see, and notice outside of Camp Nou, it appears he won't be a Barca player next season. I don't want to jump to conclusions. I'm not saying, Ira, you told me Ter Stegen was leaving. No, I don't want to say anything like that. I'm just going to tell you the truth. He hasn't been there. He was supposed to be at training, and the German goalkeeper didn't train. Still the captain of Football Club Barcelona. One who did train was Ronny Bargi, the latest signing of Football Club Barcelona. He did get those minutes, that first feeling of training with the first team since good old Ronny Bargi. The signing was made official today. As mentioned yesterday, he was already undergoing medical tests. So, good old Bargi is going to be, as I said, under the orders of Hansi Flick. That makes me really happy. For the season, or at least for the preseason, we'll see later if Barca keeps him. I think it's going to depend a lot on Bargi's own feelings, and watch out on the staff themselves, especially Flick. Flick has indicated that the player can be loaned, kept, or sold. Vardy was bought for a very cheap price of only 2 million euros. I believe his value can definitely increase. In fact, the moment Barcelona wants to sell a player after signing them, they can. I think they're already going to get at least double what he cost, so it's a good deal. He's a player with a lot of potential, a player with a lot of promise who could turn out, as I said, really well. Pablo Torre, whose signing is now official, hasn't been there. He's also going to Mallorca. Pablo Torre is a player we always talk about and are fans of here. We love him. Many in the comments will also say Pablo Torre is an incredible player who perhaps deserved more playing time. But guys, we have a lot of players in midfield and not everyone can play. Honestly, who sees him ahead of Dani Olmo? Who sees him ahead of Pedri, Gavi, Fermin? Players like Casado, Bernal? I mean, in the end, there are players who play in that same position. And I think that Pablo Torre himself would have had a really hard time if he had stayed at Barca. Anyway, like I said, he's already made his signing official. In fact, he's already on the Balearic Island. Is he already in Mallorca? A new era begins for Pablo Torre. Barca kept a percentage of his next sale. I think Barca is doing pretty well by doing this because in the end, I think it's an option. Well, it could be a good option for the future if Mallorca ends up selling him. Another big name. Careful, I'm going to tell you something you didn't know, maybe because more players are being mentioned. Rashford, a player mentioned since the start of the transfer window, is already known to be the topic of discussion. He's been linked to Football Club Barcelona. Personally, I love and like this player a lot. I still don't know, because the latest update from Fabrizio Romano said that Barca still doesn't know if it would be a loan or a purchase. What is known is that the player would give absolutely everything to play for the Azulgrana team this year. Also, it is known that he would lower his salary, which is quite high by the way, so that it would be in line with the top earners in the first team. He's a winger who I think can contribute significantly. I don't think he would end up being a regular starter, at least not for now, but Rafinha, in my opinion, would be ahead of Marcus Rashford. A player who will be, or seems like he will be in the news these last few days, is gonna be Brian Zaragoza. Is that the big news you are bringing? He's starting to be talked about a lot. Listen to what I'm saying. There's a lot of talk about him possibly ending up at Football Club Barcelona. Brian Zaragoza, a player heavily linked to Barça in recent hours, was initially thought to be a joke. I want opinions, of course. I want opinions because there will be a lot of people who say to me, hey, first they might say, hey, who is Brian Zaragoza? And why are we talking about him? Well, look, Brian Zaragoza is a player who was playing for Osasuna, but he used to play for Granada. He left Granada for Osasuna. From Osasuna, Ojito went on loan to Bayern Munich for 12 million euros. I honestly think Bayern tried to give him a chance. The player also didn't adapt very well, mainly because of the language issue, and I think there wasn't a good mix there between Brian Zaragoza and the German language. Along with Bayern, therefore, he went back to Osasuna again, and now it seems like his future is up in the air. Barca already knows perfectly well that he's a player they could pay little for. A player who would obviously arrive as a signing, but who wouldn't be a starter. I think he knows perfectly well what his role would be if he came. So hey, for me as a backup option, as a substitute option, to me he seems like a very capable player because I honestly like him a lot. He's very fast and skillful. He consistently troubles Barca, as evident in the highlights where he frequently scores or successfully dribbles against them. The truth is, he's always scored against us whenever he's faced us. I don't know what you guys are going to think. I don't know what you're going to tell me about the signing or possible signing of Brennan. In Zaragoza, people likely prefer Marcus Rashford at the moment. It's uncertain if this will change soon. We will keep an eye on all the latest Football Club Barcelona news, as always. I'm just going to ask you that. I mean, we're uploading a video absolutely every day explaining what's happening at Barca. Yesterday saw medical test. Today, the first training session. The transfer market will continue to progress in the coming days. So if you want to know absolutely everything, you only have to do one thing. First, hit the like button. It's crucial for us. Second, go all out like never before. That is, subscribe to Barça Hoy because you know perfectly well that the good stuff is about to start, and in a month, La Liga will also begin. Barca's preseason starts in a few days, and you'll have everything here. See you next video. Barça yesterday, today, and always.